the international desk, North Korea claims it's tested a long-range missile. ISIS suffers a major setback in Syria, and the Pope offers more support to the parents of a dying child. Welcome, I'm Lynda Kinked. North Korea says a missile it launched Monday could reach anywhere in the world. Pyongyang says the missile travelled higher than any other missiles before and landed nearly 1,000 kilometres away. If that's true, it would be a big step for the country's weapons program. Well, let's bring in CNN military and diplomatic analyst John Kirby, who's worked in both defence and the State Departments. Always great to have you with us. North Korea claims that this is an intercontinental ballistic missile that could reach anywhere in the world. Russia, the US, South Korea, they're not convinced. They're assessing it, suggesting it could be a medium-range missile. Why does it matter?
Well, because it gets to reach, it gets to capability, it gets to the degree to which they can threaten not just the region, but elsewhere around the globe. Look, a medium-range missile is about 1,000 to 3,000 kilometers. An intermediate range is 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers. And of course, I think, as you showed just a little bit ago, anything above 5,500 is considered 5,500 kilometers is considered an intercontinental ballistic missile. That means that your arm is a lot longer, and you can reach farther out of field. One of the things that's also important to remember here is whether it is or it isn't, and I know there is an assessment going on, is can he weaponize a nuclear warhead and put it onto a missile and become now nuclear armed capable at that range? We don't think he can. Now, we do know that in addition to the ballistic missile testing that he has continued to do, he is conducting nuclear testing. And we do believe in the intelligence community that he is trying to miniaturize. It's when he's able to miniaturize and then place it onto a weapon of that range, or missile of that range, that really you have a much more serious escalation of threat. So this is, if it's true, and it's an ICBM, it's a game changer, but it's not a game ender. I think there's still opportunity for the international community to try to come together and to try to put the brakes on this program.
Exactly. That's exactly what they want to stop. Let's look at the diplomatic response. President Trump says the time for strategic patience is over. They've tried to lean on China, North Korea's biggest trading partner. President Trump says that's failed. How do you think the US is handling this?
I actually think that of all the national security problems this administration is dealing with, in my view, the one of North Korea is the one that they have approached the most methodically, the most deliberately, and in fact, the most thoughtfully. They really have put a lot of energy into this, and they believe, and they're not wrong, that while the international community certainly bears responsibility for putting pressure on Pyongyang, the real path to Pyongyang runs through Beijing. They know that. And they have been working very, very hard with China, using carrots and sticks to try to get China to do more, because they can do more. And China hasn't done. They have not implemented the sanctions uniformly and completely in the past. They don't necessarily put the kind of pressure and influence on Kim Jong-un that they know they can. Now, look, in fairness, the Chinese will tell you we don't have perfect control over Kim Jong-un, and they wouldn't be wrong in saying that they don't. But they are much more willing to hedge to try to get some sort of stable North Korea under the regime than a reunified Korean peninsula that would be friendly to the West. So that's their preference, and that's what the trade space that they're trying to stay in. But they're not doing enough, and President Trump is right to want to put more pressure on the Chinese. And when he sanctioned those entities a week or so ago, that was an effort, that was a unilateral U.S. effort to ratchet up that pressure.
Yeah, there's certainly no doubt that China has the most leverage here. Although President Trump has said that he would be willing to sit down with Kim Jong-un. He actually said he'd be honored to do that. Do you ever see that happening? And if so, what sort of setting would that take place?
I don't see it happening anytime in the near future. I mean, the North has never been willing to sit down at the table. This was something President Obama encouraged a return to the six-party talks process. We said over and over again, we're willing to sit down and talk. Let's move negotiations forward, but you have to come to the table with an honest willingness to pursue a freeze of the program, and they're just not there. And you can tell that they're not even close to getting there based on this most recent test. He is racing forward to try to get this capability because in his mind, Kim Jong-un's mind, this is the ultimate bargaining chip. If I have this, If I have a nuclear ICBM capability, then I can sit down with you because then I've got the upper hand. That's what he's racing towards. So while I agree with President Trump that some sort of negotiation, some sort of direct talks is probably the best way forward here, there's no way that that happens anytime soon. The North is just not willing. And frankly, I wouldn't, if I was him, I wouldn't have used the word honored. This is a brutal tyrant who enslaves his own people, starves his own people, all at the expense of trying to build this program. I don't think I would ever consider sitting down with him in honor.
No, not a wise use of words. John Kirby, as always, great to get your perspective. Thank you very much.
You betcha.